Obviously, I've fallen behind on reviewing G5. I didn't see much point with the termination of Make Your Mark, especially since I did not have high expectations for Tell Your Tale without Make Your Mark to support it. However, I did not stop watching G5, and I'm glad I didn't, because things have turned in a direction that I never would have expected. I'm getting deja vu saying this, but it looks like there is still hope for G5. I consider Tell Your Tale Season 2 to be a significant improvement over Season 1. In fact, I prefer Tell Your Tale over Make Your Mark at this point, due to Make Your Mark's insistence on botching G4's lore. Tell Your Tale seems to be doing much better now, with Make Your Mark out of the way. They're free to introduce new lore, story, and locations to G5 instead of holding the status quo until the next chapter of Make Your Mark. And they're taking full advantage of this. I have some hesitations regarding Season 2, especially the cutie mark jingles and the copious use of sparkly rainbow magic with no rules or reason. But suddenly the stories are actually about something again, and the Blockywockys is a perfect episode to illustrate that point. The conceptual framework for a story with heart is present here. Izzy is facing creative block. She goes on a quest, meets new individuals, and sees the beauty of their perspectives and their parts of the world, and takes inspiration from that. It's adventurous, it's fulfilling, conflict is resolved. It's not the first time they've tackled creative block, and I think there was a lost opportunity for Pip to connect with Izzy due to also being a creative type, but the story has a solid foundation. Izzy is the focus, of course. It's nice to see her have an episode that's focused on her character, her conflicts, and her deepest desires, not just how loud she can scream or how much chaos she can cause in the town. It's a fun subversion to see her as the one who is in low spirits, and it was especially interesting how she used Senor Butterscotch as a coping mechanism. And it was very nice to see her actually contribute to her community and her friends' lives after how negatively she's been portrayed in Tell Your Tale's past. I love that we do world building in G5 now. Remember when we were stuck in only Maritime Bay for like a year? Ugh, I'm so glad that's over. We introduced 2 neat locations in this episode, as well as revisiting several relatively new ones. I'm especially excited about the introduction of sea ponies, although I wish they had looked more like G1 sea ponies rather than G4's hippogriffs. I touched on magic earlier, and that merits more discussion. In this episode alone, I lost count of how many times magic did random stuff with no explanation. This is how magic works in G5, and it's only become increasingly that way. There are no rules. It's kind of a fun world to live in, and it harkens back to the soft fantasy vibes this franchise had pre-G4. I do think they overuse it a little bit, though. I also need to talk about Allura. Since I never properly reviewed Chapter 6, I didn't get the chance to say that I did not like her when she was first introduced to us. It was too soon after Opaline's defeat, especially since they have some superficial similarities, both being purple villains with mind control powers who are after a magical MacGuffin. However, Allura has grown on me. From what we know about her so far, she reminds me of Zin from Rise of Legends. Gold Star, if you get that reference. She's the creature who has somehow been sent impossibly far from her home, and she'll do whatever it takes, even if unethical, to get back. She has my sympathy, especially since she seems to have a fairly cordial relationship with her sidekick. And her sympathetic motivations go to illustrate that Sunny made the right call in not making the first move against her. All these bronies who want every villain encounter to play out like the Twilight versus T-Rex battle need to chill out. We have yet to really see if Allura is an enemy or if she can be reasoned with. I do have a few notes regarding the other characters besides Izzy. It seems like Zip doesn't have much to do now that investigating the mystery of Opaline is out of the way. She kind of just flies fast. It's really time for them to pick up that princess in training arc again that they completely forgot about. I adore Sunny, but I think she's been spending too much time in alicorn form lately. You don't need it to make breakfast. The 2 new characters in this episode are both cool, but I will say they didn't need to make Destiny look like Pinkie Pie. The laughter thing was definitely enough for us to get the point. As a side note,
I had a date with Destiny.
I am now a voracious Destiny x Izzy shipper. Both songs in this episode are good. I'm especially partial to Let Your Magic Run Wild. Izzy's quiet, low lines in the beginning sharply contrast with her speaking voice and leave me craving for more. Could you imagine how different the interpretation of this character would be if she just spoke at a normal pitch? So overall, what do I think of the Blockywockys? I really enjoyed it. It feels like Tell Your Tale is finally finding its stride. This story featured fun locations, good characterization for Izzy and Allura, lovely songs, and a touching story about reconnecting to your creative side by experiencing new places and meeting new perspectives. G5's crazy magic gets a little overused, but otherwise, I'm impressed. 8 out of 10. This feels insane after how many times I've been disappointed, but I am hesitantly going to call myself a G5 believer for the time being. Peace out.